Hi, this week we're talking about flower totems. I've been sharing a bit with you about what is a flower totem and what is a flower spirit as well. And many people have them already, and they're much like animal totems. But a lot of people ask me, how do you find out what is your flower totem or your special flower? I've got a really good friend with me today, Cavendish, and we've been talking a lot about flower spirits and flower totems, and you shared with me a wonderful story about finding yours, and it might help others sort of realise their connection that they probably already have and haven't even really thought about. So is there a flower that you feel connected with, Lucy?
When I was about, I think I would have been about 24, I'd had a really, really tough time. I'd had a miscarriage, a late-term miscarriage. My relationship had busted up. I was devastated. My skin was broken out. I was a real mess. And I went on a walk up the central coast of New South Wales, just about an hour north of Sydney, with a couple of close friends. And I was really very miserable. And walking through this, beautiful wild forest and bush. And we came upon, very close to the coast, this massive opening, like a meadow of wildflowers, and the wildflower were flannel flowers. And I was just surrounded by these gentle, grey, green, white, soft, quite tall. They were quite tall. They weren't little babies. They were tall. So they felt strong. And honestly, it was just this, it was like I was going through the darkness of the bush, and it was tangled and it was difficult, and then we just came out into this opening, into this field of flannel flowers. And I'll never ever forget that moment, because there was something about it that seemed miraculous and hopeful and healing, and it's going to be all right. You're going to be all right. So to me, their lightness and their sweetness, and because they're so soft to the touch as well, there was something about going through the harshness of the bush and the bark and the scratches and the scrapes, and that kind of mirrored my life at the time. And then I came out into this field of softness and healing, and of almost like little beings going, you're going to be okay. You're going to be all right. So I don't know if that matches up with the kind of vibe that they have.
I started smiling when you said this, and this is not a setup, because you won't believe this, but there are flannel flowers right next to us.
Yeah, I did see those before,
and I was
like,
a bit unusual for them to be on a rock ledge up here. They're usually a little lower.
my friends
in this area, they're not usually up here. That is very much the energy of the traditional energy of flannel flower. It is about gentleness, and it is about very much in touch with your feminine side and honouring the goddess within as well. It's a healer, and they come about a lot when you're in situations where you've had to harden up.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense, because I felt like maybe I wasn't going to get through this unless I got really, really, really tough.
Yes.
But that wasn't working for me.
That's right.
That was just making things way worse.
Yes.
So it was beautiful to kind of come into this opening where I don't think I cried at the time, but we actually took photographs of that place, and I've still got some photographs of that place, and I just felt blessed. It's hard to put it into words. To be surrounded by these guys was like being blessed. And I was with friends who didn't mind if I was me, rather than being around the people who were kind of like, toughen up.
Exactly. And have you noticed, since then, the flannel flower, I mean, we've got it here today, but have you noticed it popping up in different ways?
Look, it pops up in lots of different ways, but it's still rare. It's not like it comes to me all the time. And when it does come to me, it doesn't always literally come to me. Sometimes it comes to me in the form of an image, or I notice it on a television program, or it doesn't always literally appear in my environment, because I live in an urban environment and it's unlikely that it will turn up, but it still manages to visit me, even if I come across those photographs. And I think they're my favourite flower.
That's
I
it.
think there's something about that moment. You can't repeat those kinds of moments in your life. I don't think that'll ever happen again. And I feel like bluebells might be like the Anglo equivalent. I know that I've got a little bit of a fantasy about one day walking into a field of flowers in England and being surrounded by bluebells. But you know, that sort of sense of coming out of a dark place and into a sun-filled place, a light place with things that are open and expanding and in abundance. I'm never going to forget that.
Well, you've touched really well on the energy of flannel flowers, but also on how they connect with us and how they come up to us as well. And as you said, you will find that they'll come up even in words and conversation. The word flannel.
Flannel sheets.
Something that reminds you. And well, just say for instance, your flower's a rose, and you might meet someone called Rose. You might hear the word. You might smell. You might see a colour, and that's how the totem is coming to you. And have a look at the things that are messages around there. Basically, it is something that stirs in you. It can be a big moment like Lucy's. It can just be something that you have always felt, this connection with a certain flower. So if you feel it as strongly as Lucy's painted for us so well today, you feel it that strongly when this happiness and this connection, I would say most definitely that it would be your totem flower. It's very similar to animal totems and spirits, feeling that sort of connection. No one can tell you definitely this is your totem flower, this is your spirit flower. It is really something that happens through an event, through a feeling, and through a continued...
Through repetition,
maybe.
Exactly. Something consistent where you can go, you know, there's that many crossovers.
Absolutely.
There's got to be something there.
That's it. Yeah. Well, thanks, Lucy,
my
for sharing.
pleasure.
It's a very special thing to share with us.
Thank you. Thank you for shedding light on my flannel flower love and experience.
We might go and have a hello to the flannel flowers in a minute. So thanks a lot. Thank you, Lucy. And
my pleasure.
Blessed be.
Blessed be, everybody.